Hello everyone, I hope you guys have all been doing well. It has been such a long time since I've done one of these videos where I sit down and just chat to you guys about interior design. So this week's video is geared at students who want to potentially study interior design. So this is basically going to be my top 6 tips for anyone who is interested in studying interior design. Tip number 1, this would be to identify whether you are a more technical designer or a more creative designer, and do your due diligence before you enroll into any institution to check whether they cater to your needs. If you aren't sure what kind of designer you want to be, like me when I first enrolled, I would highly recommend that you enroll in an institution that offers you both, so that in your career you can later decide whether you want to be more technically strong or more creative. But nonetheless, I think it's just always a good idea to investigate the institution you're going to go to beforehand. And luckily in South Africa, and I'm sure across the world, that there are multiple institutions that offer you so many different things, and you just need to read through and really make sure that you make the right decision for you, because honestly, this is the benchmark of your career, and really important to make sure that you're happy with your decision. So for instance, I went to Inscape here in Cape Town, and the college was quite technical, but it was well balanced with a lot of design and conceptual thinking. And in my year, there was a guy who decided that Inscape wasn't for him because he found it was a little bit too technical. So he enrolled in design time, if I'm not mistaken, and that's also in Cape Town, and that is a lot more creative. So I mean, obviously, if you figure that it's not the right fit, you can always move to another institution, but I think it's just worth your while to investigate beforehand, so that you just save yourself time and money and stress when you're in the college. Tip number 2 is time management, and I wish I knew this beforehand. It's so important because you are thrown with multiple assignments at the same time, which require lots of different skills and a lot of time. So when you get an assignment, start it as soon as possible. The reason I say this is because with design, there are so many moving parts. You could be conceptualizing for one project, for one design project, and then for another project, you're doing highly technical details, which all take up so much of your time. You don't even realize it until you're in it. The amount of all-nighters I pulled when I was a student are crazy. And that obviously leads into stress management. Stress management would kind of be like 2B. If you manage your time well, you manage your stress. I can't tell you how many times I was stressed. I called my mother a billion times. She even had to fly down to Cape Town because I remember my 3rd year, I was crying. I was very upset. I thought I was going to fail. There was just so much happening. And there is just a lot happening. It's such a layered degree. There are so many things that you need to be able to juggle at the same time. And so this leads into tip number 3. You need to be able to multitask. And this does not stop at studying level. It will continue on into your career. The amount of projects I've had to multitask at different stages is insane. And you need to be able to learn how to switch on your creative brain, and then the next day or within a couple of hours, switch on your more technical brain. So it is a lot of stress, and it does take a lot of getting used to multitask, but if you stick to your time management and manage to do things in a timelessly manner, you'll be able to multitask a lot easier and a lot more smoothly. So tip number 4 is criticism, and you'll get a lot of criticism in your path to obtaining your interior design degree. That's basically how we all learn, and you need to be able to handle criticism. It is constructive at the end of the day, and you need to remember that it's not an attack. Your personal tastes, your preferences, it is all about building you up to a better designer. As hard as it is to say this, and I even fall short of this even now after being in the career for 5 years, is that you need to try, if you can, separate your emotions from your work. And it's so hard to say this as a designer and as someone who's creative, because one of the things we do are drawn from our own personal experiences, is an emotional exploration of our ideas and our identity essentially. But just be mindful that the criticism is there to help you and it is not personal. Tip number 5, do not compare yourself to anyone. We all have different upbringings and experiences which we use to draw our inspiration from. So it would be a disservice to you if you were to compare yourself to your fellow peers. Rather find what things maybe you would like to improve on and speak to that person, and maybe you can learn a lot more from maybe how they went from developing a concept to their final product. So if you are struggling with something, you'd rather build a good ecosystem of peers who you either look up to or a little bit better than you at something. So you'd rather some advice from them and better yourself in your next assignment. And then my last tip, which is tip number 6, which is kind of a strange one, but it's a very important one. And that is, if you can, invest in a high quality laptop. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because of the software that we use. It demands a lot from our computers, and you do not want the added stress of your computer crashing the night before an assignment is due or the night before a big presentation is due. It can be very stressful, and trust me, I have seen many tears because of it. So most institutions, I think, well, from when I was at Inkscape, they did advise us on the kind of specs to look for before purchasing a laptop. If your institution doesn't give you, or if they don't tell you the specs, please investigate with one of your lecturers what computer you should get to save you time, to save you stress, to save you buying a whole new machine. Just buy a good one upfront if possible. So that basically concludes my 6 tips for students who are hoping to study interior design. I hope that these tips were helpful. It did take me a long time to think about them because I did study a while ago. I'm sure there are probably other tips that might come up later on in the day when I'm like editing this video, and if they are, I will definitely leave them in my description box. And if anyone on my channel who's watching studied interior design or is an interior designer, if you want to shed more light on your experiences or add to my tips, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I will be so delighted to read them, and I'm sure anyone who's interested would gain from your insights. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm actually going to do some more sit-down videos on like what to expect in interior design as a career and other videos, and this is just basically from reading a bunch of comments on my one video about the differences between interior design, interior decorating, and interior architecture. And I got a lot of questions about interior design and about studying it, like where people should go, what to expect. So I thought I might as well just make a series out of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.